Desecration of sacred symbols is a way of black magic. And we all have been seeing all the kinds of reports that are coming out of the Epstin files. At some point, he got a kiswa of the Kaaba. So this was not an accidental gift. He wanted it. And to read that email, it says here is the attachment. By the way, the black piece was touched by a minimum of 10 million Muslims of different denominations. They walk around the Kaaba 7 rounds, then everyone tries as much as they can to touch it. And they kept their prayers, wishes, tears, and hopes on this piece, hoping after that all their prayers to be accepted. The items travel by air freight from Saudi to Florida through British Airways, with correspondence tracking invoices, customs paperwork, and final delivery arrangements. The shipment included one piece from inside the Kaaba itself, a second from the outer covering, and a third from identical materials but never deployed. To clear customs, the unused piece allowed the entire shipment to be classified as artwork rather than religious artifacts, denigrating Islam to please the world's most evil and depraved criminals. So now let's add to the equation now that there have been allegations through these emails of not just zina, we know the zina, underage for blackmail purposes, but also rape. But we would also add to that there has been mention explicitly of torture. And there have been mentions of eating them. Allegations to be safe. We know now that bank account was named after a demon, Baal, the demon Baal. That's what he named his bank account. But in summary, we could basically speculate with a very high level that the man is deep into the occult, and that a large bulk of our leaders, Western Hemisphere leaders, are practicing the occult, have committed clear crimes with high likelihood of speculation. Unfortunately, the emails provide associations, allegations, and speculations probably can never amount to any proof, unfortunately. So nobody is going to receive justice in the court of law. Even the likes of Bill Gates are ensnared in this. But every one of these people is dead in the court of public opinion, executed on the spot in the court of public opinion. In fact, so much of what people have been saying about Satan is turning out to be real in front of our own two eyes. What we mean by this is there is a concept of making a deal with the devil. It is true that a person can make a deal with the devil. And it does require, just as if you want to make a deal with God, you need to go do good deeds. If you want to make a deal with God. If you want to make a deal with the devil, you need to prove yourself by doing bad deeds, by which he blackmails you and ensnares you. And then once you keep doing these duties and prove yourself, now the world opens up for you. And you have people with levels of success that are almost unimaginable. Well, does that entail that Satan has powers? What are you saying? Are you saying that? No, we know for sure that there are evil people out there who prefer to do business with other evil people. If you have a wali Allah who's a big billionaire, right? Chances are he's going to choose to do business with other salihin, with other righteous people. So when you have demonic people who have amassed a great amount of wealth, they're going to want to do business, and they're going to get the references to do business with other demonic people. And that's what we mean by that. So that's the idea. And for people to not believe in evil anymore, and literally in demons, and demons are huge jinn, like very jinn. Not all angels, for example, are of the same power. For example, no one's at the level of Jibreel. No one has the power of Jibreel. Allah has given him the greatest amount of power. The jinn also have different levels. You reach the point watching these things that this stuff is not just because they want to do these things, that they find pleasure in doing these things. I think it's a belief that if we do these, if we desecrate children and the sanctity of the human soul, we're going to be rewarded. Here's another one. Put this off over Elif. Okay, so let me read it first then. This is my first time. I'd like to add a few other points disclosed by the purported victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males committing zina with blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during the zina. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar, but left no scarring. What are we reading here? On the yacht, this is from the files, one of the testimonies. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also raped by George Bush I. Of course, we have to say, because we're in public, that this is an allegation of a purported victim. This is almost too crazy for someone to invent, but it is totally in line with devil worship. The love of blood, the love of najasa, the desecration of life. So Lawrence Krauss, the great hater of God, likewise Dawkins. Look that up, Arifu. Dawkins, Lawrence Krauss. Hold on a second. You are just attacking God and the prophet all the time. You turn out to be, by the way, there are a lot of now AI. There's a lot of stuff that you have to look up multiple times to see if it's actually true, because there's a lot of AI. This wasn't AI. This was an old interview published by the New York Post, actually published that interview. So that wasn't AI. Steven Pinker, the other atheist. Atheists Behaving Badly was a book. So that the top atheists, they're all morally, it's a book called Atheists Behaving Badly. Here, Richard Dawkins and Lawrence Krauss, longtime collaborators in promoting science and atheism, notably in the film The Unbelievers, have continued their intellectual partnership through recent dialogues, despite Krauss facing severe accusation of sexual misconduct in 2018. He was in university in Arizona and he got kicked out for sexual misconduct. Krauss, that's Lawrence Krauss. He subsequently retired from Arizona State University following allegations of inappropriate behavior. If he retired, so he took a plea almost. If he were false, he would fight them, right? So Krauss and Dawkins are both featured heavily. Pull up that email in the Epstein file. I'd actually heard a lot about Elon being in it, but I didn't see exactly what. So first, get us this Krauss and Dawkins in the Epstein email. I'm telling you that what we have been saying as Muslims about the Dajjal and Iblis, and these are all in cahoots with Iblis. And Iblis, these demons, these unseen devils, these jinn are pulling the strings. And that's why the modern world is like a perfect, everything is lined up perfectly, but the people don't all know each other. They didn't collude this. It's colluded from the unseen. It's colluded from Iblis and his Iblis when he operates. You think it's just Iblis doing everything? No, he's got hundreds of generals. Hundreds.